Hi everybody, and welcome to the first video of 2023. And for me it's a little bit special because I'm actually in front of the camera instead of being behind it, walking around with the gimbal looking stupid. In this video I'm going to try to explain the simple process that I use to go ahead and film a really awesome car video. Originally it was supposed to be a video explaining like the gear that I used, the different techniques that I used, using a gimbal, color grading and all that stuff, but it ended up being kind of long, and it turns out that Spam Subi on YouTube has a really good video series on how to film cars. He covers gimbal movements, he covers color grading, sound, and a whole bunch of super important topics. So I strongly recommend you watch that first to get a good foundation of how to film a good car video, and then come back to this one so I can explain to you my process of how I go about filming cars. So before we get into the process of how I film cars, it'll make more sense if you watch this clip from a few months ago.
Alright, so it's a little bit windy, but it's honestly the nicest day we've had in a very long time, especially for being October. 80 degrees outside, so I figured I'll take advantage. I don't care if it's windy. The leaves are beautiful. Everything is nice. A little bit crispy around here. But I'm going to kind of go over all the gear that I have and kind of explain why I have it in the way I do. Starting off with the camera, currently filming on a Sony A7Rii. It's a fantastic photography camera, super high resolution, super quick autofocus, and it is surprisingly a very good video camera too, especially if you throw it in the right modes and you kind of mess with the settings a little bit. It does a really good job. I kind of hit the limits of it. I can't really get any better quality out of it, especially now that I've started to really kind of push myself to the limits. The gear is just not cutting it anymore, and what's nice about that, it's perfect timing because Sony just released a new cinema camera that kind of checks all the needs that I need. So 4K 60, 4K 120, 10-bit color, internal recording, which is super important for me, especially because I'm a more advanced editor, and I kind of limited myself with 8-bit for a long time. 10-bit gives me more colors, and that's a video for another day. But in terms of gear, it's pretty simple. Current lens I'm shooting on right now is the f4. It's a 10-18 f4 super wide angle lens. You can shoot in full frame with this, especially when you hit it up at 12mm. Very little vignetting, nothing too crazy. The other lens that I have that I shoot with is the 35 to 16 to 35 f2.8 G Master lens. I bought this for 250 bucks. Believe it or not, as crazy as that sounds, this is like a $1,000, $1,500 lens. Paid 250 bucks for it. There's a massive cutout right there because it was bent, and so I had to essentially hammer it back out to be straight, and then I had to cut that portion out. I had to throw on a reducer so I can screw my filters on there good, but overall it's a very solid lens. Honestly, I'm currently in the hunt to go back to prime lenses, though. I do miss shooting on prime lens. Before I had this, I had the Samyang f2.8 35mm lens. I was shooting in full frame mode. Solid setup. Also have this bad boy. This is the 70 to 200 f4. It's more for drift events. Honestly, I don't really use it on a daily basis. The daily lens is the 16 to 35, and then for vlogging stuff is this, the 10 to 18. Here's my little bag. Honestly, you don't need much. This is like an Amazon cheapest bag I could find. Does, it gets the job done. Got all my caps and stuff in there. Got my ND filter. This is an Amazon monitor. Came with a little case. This is that Amazon monitor. It's the Andy Cine 4K. This thing is fantastic. I have bigger batteries for it as well. It's really bright. It gets the job done. And it was definitely worth the money. All you Sony shooters that shoot on the old batteries, you already know it, man. We got 7 of these things. These things burn out fast. You get about an hour of battery life per battery on this. It's pretty bad, but, hopefully the new camera will fix that. The new camera will fix that. Other than that, it's not, nothing too complicated. That's all I have, really. And then I got the crate for the bigger stuff. And then, I got the Insta360 with all the Insta360 junk in there. But essentially, everything I need to film a car video fits in this bag. It's super lightweight, and it's something I just love. In terms of the gimbal, this is it right here. This is the bread and butter. It's the DJI RSC-2, so it's the second generation of the SC series. It's honestly a fantastic gimbal. This one has a little knob you can hit right there that rotates this in briefcase mode. Anybody who's seen me shoot at shows and stuff knows I film in that mode. because I can grab the wooden handles like that and it makes it really, really nice to grab. It's very stable, the battery life is fantastic. It's got these nice NATO rails on the side, so you can clamp stuff to it. You can clamp the handles to it like that. These are some small rig handles I picked up. They're actually kind of expensive, honestly. They were $80 a piece, but they were well worth it because I was originally filming with one hand here and then one hand when you can fold the handle like that. Just wasn't my kind of style, man. It hurt. It hurt after a long period of use. But now that I got the handles, you know, I have something nice to grab onto. It's a really solid gimbal for 500 bucks. Honestly, it's probably one of the best. It's super, super smooth, especially if you balance the camera right. It's got all the controls you could ever ask for. The screen is nice. Battery life is insane. Stabilization's super, super easy, especially once you get it balanced. It's very, very easy to maneuver. It's super, super small, especially if you fold and lock all the axes. And that's another reason I bought it, because it was so, so small. When it's completely folded, and you know, all the stuff is removed, it's very tiny, fits in the bag, and it's what I needed. I needed something small, lightweight that would fit in here, and that was the answer to all my problems. That's all my gear for now. It's not too much, and it just goes to show you don't need a lot to film a really nice video.
Now that you understand the gear that I use and the way that I have it in the way that I do, this video will make a little more sense. And it'll actually be a little easier to understand too, because the way I film cars is not as complicated as people think. It's like 4 or 5 steps maybe at most. First step is find a car. Second step, find a cool location. Third step, just start filming. Get some sound, find the song for the video, and then put the whole thing together. When finding a car, you want to find something that's super unique, something that stands out, maybe something that's wide body, something that's wrapped, maybe something super clean, and something that'll really bring in people. People want to click stuff that's really, really cool, not stuff that's, you know, super boring. Moving on to location, find a place that's super unique, find a place that no one really knows about to really keep yourself unique. Now, after I found that car and that location, we set up a date and I just go film. Honestly, I just do my thing. I talk with the owner while I'm filming, moving the gimbal left and right, trying some up and down moves. I start out with really, really wide shots, and then I get closer in, get some nice close-up shots. And the whole point is you want to grab as much footage as possible, because you never know when you're gonna like mess up a clip and then you gotta go and get a new one. So it's better to have more than less. In terms of getting roller shots, I have this really, really cool homemade rig that I built. I can pretty much do roller shots all by myself, which is super dangerous and I don't recommend you do. This is pretty important. This is an audio recorder. This is the Zoom H5 battery operated. It's got a little mic right up here. It's got gain adjustment dials, so I can turn up the volume or turn down the volume, you know, at my own free will. It's got 2 XLR ports on the bottom, and then I plug this guy in, which is it's pretty much a podcasting mic, honestly. It's a Samson Q2U. It's like 60 bucks. I bought this guy for 100 bucks used. This I bought new, this I bought used. So for 160 bucks, pretty solid recording setup. This thing can record sounds as loud as 140 decibels or something like that. So you'll get really, really clean audio and you won't have to worry about distorting as well. Usually when I do rollers first, and then while I'm packing everything up, I send the guy out to go get some sound for me. I just tell him, hey, give me some light throttle, some mid throttle, some heavy load, whatever. And then that pretty much concludes it. The hardest part is honestly finding a song. Like, what song am I gonna use? Because the song sets the mood of the video like you wouldn't believe it. So it takes time to find the right one, but once you do, it is so worth it. That pretty much wraps it up. That's it, you know, it's nothing too complicated. It's simply just finding a cool car, finding a cool spot, going out and film, getting sound, finding music, and then that's it. And that's just the way that I do things. I know other people do things differently. Everyone's got their own style, and that's what makes us all super, super unique. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know for me it's a little bit different being in front of the camera. Trying to cram as much in as little time as possible it's kind of tricky. So if I messed up, sorry. If the video sucks, sorry. Subscribe if you haven't. A lot of percentage of you guys that view the videos aren't actually subscribed, so I definitely recommend you subscribe because I have some pretty killer content coming your way this year, and it would suck if you guys missed out on it. Thank you guys for checking it out. We'll see you in the next one.